Hey y'all, how's it going? This is Blair Cinta and this is Sticks and Wires. Alright, so today we are discussing playing quietly, and using the appropriate tools to help you achieve that. Okay, lately I've been practicing playing much quieter on a pad and translating it to the kit, and this tune in particular that I had to record recently, um, it had a very kind of acoustic Nora Jonesy vibe, but it also had an R&B vibe. And my initial thought was, I'm gonna go brushes, but then I think it needs sticks. It needs to have some oomph to it. It needs the oomph that sticks have, as opposed to brushes. But it also needs to be very contained and sit under the female vocalist, but groove. Okay, so I wanted to pick tones that were dark, that wouldn't sound aggressive, that would sit under the vocal, but also just help me play quietly. Besides playing quietly, help me play quietly. Okay, so I used my 18-inch bass drum, my DW, no hole in the front. Um, okay, so we'll go one by one here. We'll start at the beginning of this. Let me let you hear a little bit of how the kit sounds, and we'll dive into individual instruments and sounds and things.
Shout out to my ladies. I tell them don't forget me, please, please don't go. I can't do this on my own. Shout out to my ladies. I tell them don't forget me, please don't go. I can't do this on my own. Take me. I wanna burn up and explode. A supernova, but the thing that keeps me sane is this sacred thing. When we lie and we joke about our LA.
As you may have detected, there's some timing issues in this track. Not with me. Uh, but that's something we'll get to also here. Knowing where you should sit when you get something to track to that's a little floaty. Alright, so let's start with the bass drum. This is a tone that I really, really love to get, and it's not often that, it just comes every once in a while, but a kind of open, very soft, poofy sound, and it really works in the track because at the moment there's a lot of space. It's acoustic piano. There will be guitar. There's going to be live strings on this, but this kind of like real open, soft, just it's like a pillow that you want to lay on, right? All right, so 18-inch bass drum, my 18-inch DW Jazz bass drum, no hole in the front head, and using the very soft beater on it, and playing quite quietly. All right, so here's the kick out with my FET 47. I didn't do much to it. Boosting the low end here a little, cutting out some mids, cutting out some highs. So I'm really trying to, any of that bleed from hi hats and cymbals and things like that are out. Didn't compress it at all. Okay, so it just is what it is. There's the kick in, which of course is also sitting outside of the kick, and this is my Audio Technica 125 mic, which I didn't think I really needed, but I put them both up. But it turns out it's giving it a little bit of oomph that seems to sit well in the track. So here's the kick out, kick in separately. Not a very appealing sound, but you can hear it has some mid-range to it, and together. Okay, it's adding a little bit of punch, just a little, but just enough to actually make a difference where I felt like it was really important. Okay, next, snare top. I'm using my mid 60s Ludwig. I'm not sure what it is. It's a wood drum, 6.5. It's a drum I only play quiet on. It's got a very old head. It's got a very organic, woody sound. Sounds like this. This is with a bottom snare. All right, so we have a very natural woody, let's say a really kind of intimate, warm sound going just from the kick and snare. So you'll notice how quietly I'm playing everything, hi-hat included. I still have the hi-hat muted here. And so all the hi-hat is coming from this overhead. Mono overhead, 414. Actually didn't even turn on the EQ. Partly because that is it's just so natural sounding that I'm just happy with the way it is. And so here's the kick and snare with the mono overhead in. All right, so you'll notice, and this is partly where I'm talking about, use the instruments that really help complement what you're trying to do. These are 17-inch hi-hats, so they're really big, but they are super dry. There's actually 3 of them, 1 top and 2 bottom, so they ring even less. And they're super dark. And I'm playing with the tip of the stick on these. They're just so dry, they're not getting in the way, and the fact that they're so dark, there's no high end that's going to mess with the vocal at all. Okay, so I'm using complementary instruments to where we're trying to achieve the sound, or even stay out of those areas sonically. Okay, let's add overheads. Let's go to the bridge. I'm using an Agop Signature 22-inch ride, which is very dark, and an old Zildjian A, which is 24 inches. The cymbal is from the 1950s with a couple rivets in it. I really love rivet cymbals in the right situation because you can hit them very lightly, and they can act as a crash because they have a longer sustain, and it really helps you mark a section. as you do usually with a crash cymbal. Um, but a nice sizzle cymbal can really make it easy for you to play light, tip of the stick, and just get that sizzle that just hangs out. Just a different sound. Okay, let's get to what's going on with these toms here. As you've noticed, probably, they're kind of dead. They are dead, so I have, gaff tape and towels on them as I usually do, but in the center, I have a piece of paper towel that is held down with gaff tape. And this is a trick I learned from Eric Valentine, working with him. And what it actually sounds like to me is it's almost like you're playing the toms with mallets, even though you're using sticks, because it takes all that woody attack away from the tom. Yet, unlike using a towel over the whole head, you still get some sustain. So you're not getting the dead kind of beatly Ringo thing. You're getting this kind of in-between thing where attack is gone, but there's still some full sustain. So let's check out these toms on their own. I really dig that. I'm actually going to pull some of this high end while we're listening, because why not? Try to get some of that cymbal out of there. Losing some of that high end, which will help us there, and we're not losing anything because the frequency is above anything that the tom is giving us. So let's check out these toms with the overheads in. Right, so you can see the floor tom still has some nice length to it, and without any extra attack. That's basically it. The rooms are muted. Didn't need those. I wanted everything fairly dry. Hi-hat's muted. Shaker over the top. I used one of my homemade shakers. It's an old cardboard tube that, like a flask, came in, and I put rice in there. Really great. I love cardboard shakers because the outside of it, well, is not metallic, so we're going to get a softer sound naturally. And then you may have noticed in other videos I have a big blue one that's from a whiskey bottle. It's not a whiskey bottle, but the container that the whiskey came in, Glenfiddich, 12-year? No, Glenmorangie. Glenmorangie. Big difference. And that one has lentils in it. And this one with the flask, colored flask thing, has rice in it. So this one with the rice is slightly brighter. Let's check it out. Okay, and I recorded that on my overhead, my 414, and I'm panning it off to the right a little bit. Next, I've been using this tambourine more and more. It's one of these weird things that I probably bought for $5 somewhere. Head's broken, the jingles are rusted. It's about a 8-inch tambourine. And again, it's a very quiet tambourine. There's no sustain. And I did loop myself, but I was playing little patterns, so it wasn't just a consistent thing. All right, so those are very, those are very soft-sounding percussion tones. I really love brass jingles in general on tambourines. Obviously, for darker things, brass jingles help a lot, and softer-sounding shakers with non-metallic or plastic. I really hate plastic shakers, except for certain things. Last but not least, there's some kielbasa here in the bridge with some verb on it. Let's check out this second verse with everything in. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about timing here. So we can hear the piano and the vocal are pulling in certain places. We noticed that at the beginning. And let's just check things with the click, because it's always important in these situations to know where this is going. If you have a client and says, look, hey, this is how I played it, please play with me, and then you kind of have to follow them around, which I've done tracks before like that. It's not very fun, but sometimes necessary. In this case, I know that they're going to retrack things. Okay, so you got to be a slave to the click. Set your mix where the click is dominant for you, but you can still hear the tune and play musically. Kind of strange, right? But that's the world that we live in sometimes, where we have to do this. All right, so let's just check out the drums. Since we heard weird fluctuations with the timing of the piano and things like that, let's just listen with the click to see how it sits. In particular, there was a lot of pulling coming with the second verse, so let's check it out right on the second verse. All right, so it starts to settle. Piano starts to settle. There's another part where the piano is inconsistent rhythmically. So what I did is I picked the second rhythm, which she stayed with. Which, let's check that out, because it's off with the drums how it is here. use your instincts. What it tells you. I think she was confused going into that first. It's kind of like a post-chorus. Forgot the rhythm, or they forgot to comp it. I'm not really sure, but the second, third, and fourth time it's the same. So I went with that. All right, so try playing quiet. Make sure we're using complementary tones that can help you if that's the case. Or obviously, if you need to play loud, then play louder and use tones that give you volume. Snares tuned properly, brighter cymbals if need be, toms that are tuned appropriately, or heads that are appropriate, brighter heads, things like that. Use appropriate instruments for what you need to achieve. All right. Talk soon. Take care.